we got some stuff to talk about because apparently Xbox decided to raise their game prices, is what I've been hearing. So, also the Valorant thing got worse. Apparently, I saw a piece of it, and I was just like, "Oh, I'm so saving this for stream." So that's what I have here at the moment. I saved a piece of it. But yeah, apparently, I want to talk about the Xbox. Apparently, Xbox increases their prices again. What Valo thing? Don't worry about it. You'll see. You'll see.
Never in the history of gaming have I seen something like this happen. I've never seen console prices increase over the course of its lifespan rather than decrease. And I've certainly never seen a console's price increase not once, but twice, which is precisely what's happened with Xbox. And it is a situation that affects all of the big three, not just Xbox. Nintendo increased console prices, and recently PlayStation also increased console prices. And it all has in large part to do with unique economic conditions in this current day and age.
I don't think so. I think that's just a lie at the end of the day. That's such a lie. Can we just get rid of this whole like tariff thing or so? It's like, oh, it's the tariffs' fault. The tariffs is the one that are causing the issues for the, you know, for why the prices are being raised. Premium price for premium console for premium gamers. Okay.
When it comes to Nintendo, you may recall that back in April of 2025, Nintendo announced price increases for Nintendo Switch 2 accessories. And so we ultimately ended up with prices that look like this. So for example, Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller went from $80 to $85. A pair of Joy-Con 2s went from $90 to $95, so on and so forth. But then there was...
Oh, are you serious? The Steam Deck dropped their prices? That's pretty funny. That's pretty hilarious right there.
Another price increase that happened with the Nintendo Switch, in particular Switch 1, as well as Switch 2 accessories, as announced here on August 1st, 2025, when Nintendo Switch 1 prices went from, for example, the OLED version from $350 to $400, the non-OLED from $300 to $340, and the Switch Lite from $200 to $230. And Joy-Con 2 controllers increased price yet again, this time from $95 to $100. Not long thereafter, on August 20th, 2025, we saw PlayStation change prices for the PlayStation 5 in the United States. Scrolling down here in this blog post, you'll find PlayStation listing new prices for its PS5 family of consoles, and those prices have been applied. All of the different versions essentially increased by $50. The PS5 Slim went from $500 to $550, the PlayStation 5 Slim Digital Edition from $450 to $500, and the PS5 Pro from $700 to $750. And then there's Xbox, who back in May of 2025 already increased their price points for the Xbox Series line of consoles once. So right here we have Wario64 announcing that Microsoft raises the price of all Xbox Series consoles. And then beyond that, they announced that certain first-party games would be priced at $80, though we have seen them kind of waver on that front. Outer Worlds 2, for example, was supposed to be $80, but since all of the backlash happened, they've kind of retracted that, and Microsoft has made it so that that game launches for $70. But yeah, the new prices for Xbox back then were already pretty ludicrous in terms of how much the price increased. So the Xbox Series S, for example, which, you know, whose selling point is how affordable it is, went from $300 to $380 for the 512 gigabyte version. For the 1 terabyte version, it went from $350 to $430. The Xbox Series X went from $500 to $600. The 2 terabyte Galaxy Black version went from $600 to $730. That's a $130 price increase, so on and so forth. That's alongside myriad price increases for accessories. Fast forward to today, September 19th, 2025.
Oh, God, I don't know if I'm ready for this.
And Xbox has announced yet another price increase for the United States. It reads right here, beginning October 3rd, we will update the recommended retailer pricing for Series S and Series X consoles in the United States due to changes in the macroeconomic environment. As for what the new prices are, here we have Shinobi 602 reporting on this.
Oh. Damn, that's crazy. Now at this point, I don't want to hear any goddamn console person telling me that PC is fucking expensive when you're buying $800 for a 2 terabyte fucking plastic box, okay? I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. It's so expensive. PC is so expensive. No. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. You could probably get yourselves a pretty good, decent PC to play games on PC, and you'll probably have a more better time than compared to Xbox.
From Windows Central.
And also, even if you like Xbox, you can probably buy the Xbox Game Pass for your PC. I'm just saying. I could probably get one used for pretty cheap.
Highlighting the significant price increase for Series S, Series X. And yeah, I mean, at this point, Xbox is already losing as far as the console race or the console wars is concerned. But this is going to kill them. I mean, paying $650 for a Series X, or if you want...
Like it, dude, it really does feel like we're going back in time or so, where... What was it? It was Sega, right? Sega was the one that made like a bunch of consoles, right? That were like increased the prices or so, or was it a different company that did it? I don't remember who it was or so. But I know for a fact, there was one that like was like making consoles or so, and then they like increased. They had like insane prices or so back then. I wouldn't be surprised if Xbox changes from a hardware platform to a digital platform like Sega.
Want to get the 2 terabyte version of Series X, $800? Like that ain't no way people are going to go for that, especially during current economic conditions. But yeah, we're talking about, for example, the Series S going from $380 to $400. So since the initial price of the Series S, the console has appreciated in price by roughly $100. And then we have Series X here that had already increased its price point by $100 from $500 to $600. Now an additional $50, it's $650. We got the Series X Digital Edition. That was $450. That increased by $100 to $550. And now another $50. It is now $600. And then the 2 terabyte version of the Series X already increased by $130 and has gone up by another whopping $70 to $800. That means that the 2 terabyte version of the Series X from launch has gone up in price by a whopping $200. Insane, unprecedented.
You want to know something? Around that price or so, I can probably buy a used PS5 for that price, or a Nintendo Switch 2 OLED for that price in my local marketplace.
And yeah, I mean, the unique economic situation is that the U.S. has been imposing tariffs on myriad countries, especially ones where a lot of electronic components are manufactured, components that are essential to the creation of consoles like the Nintendo Switch, like Xboxes and PlayStations, which is why we've seen these price increases happen specifically in the US. True. So for example, when Nintendo increased prices for the Nintendo Switch 2 accessories, that happened specifically in the US. When they increased prices for the Nintendo Switch 1, as well as increased prices for Switch 2 accessories again, that also happened in the United States. When PlayStation announced price increases for the PlayStation 5, this was specific to the United States. And then last but not least, when it comes to Xbox, for both of its price increases, this was exclusive to the United States. Even with their latest price increase right here, they specifically highlight how this price increase is exclusive to the United States due to economic conditions and the macroeconomic environment in the United States. And also, when you look at how much prices have increased in comparison to the percentage of tariffs that the US has been imposing on countries, that
I can see why pirating is becoming so popular again. I can definitely see that. Besides, you don't own your games and everything like that, but this right here is gonna actually gonna make people start pirating games, or start modding their consoles and just add emulation into them to play the older games and everything. It really does. Dude, it really fucking feels like we're going back in time. Like during the Sega era and like the Nintendo era, you know, and like, you know, just those specific areas all the way back then or so, you know. What is it? Well, I think one of the consoles was like the Jaguar or something like that. Dude, it really feels like we're just repeating this shit over and over again. I'm actually waiting for the video game market to crash. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm actually really waiting for that. I'd be so curious to see how that's gonna happen.
Help Xbox create its components that are required for the Xbox consoles. You can see right here that, for example, Derek Stricken came up with this chart that highlights the launch MSRP compared to the new prices after all of the price increases. And you can see that the percentage of price increase across all of these consoles has been roughly in the region of 30%, which is exactly the amount of tariff that the US has imposed on countries like China, which is where a lot of the manufacturing components happens. Daniel Ahmad in particular has been highlighting throughout the price increases of various consoles like Nintendo and PlayStation how currently there's a 20% tariff on Vietnam, 30% tariff on China, 15% tariff on Japan. And then on top of all that, in a separate post, he highlighted how Malaysia currently has a 19% tariff. And again, these are all countries where a lot of electronic components are manufactured. And again, these are like primary countries where a lot of electronic components are manufactured, and the price increases are aligning very closely to what the tariffs are right now. And worth highlighting is that back in August, tariff negotiations were still ongoing, as highlighted here by Daniel Ahmad. The situation was still fluid, which is why Xbox might have had to readjust the prices yet again due to new situations that have developed as far as, you know, the economic situation is concerned, as far as tariffs is concerned. To that point, Daniel Ahmad said, "Here's what I said last month. With greater clarity comes reevaluations and adjustments. This is the second time Xbox has raised prices in the US this year. I wouldn't expect a third time unless Trump decides to raise tariffs again, which he could." And so then the question...
No shot. If Xbox literally raises their prices a third time, that's it. That's it. There's no way Xbox is surviving.
Becomes, will something similar happen on the Nintendo and PlayStation front? Is it possible that prices will increase yet again for PlayStation and Nintendo? Now, as far as the Switch 2 specifically is concerned, that console has maintained its launch MSRP, but who's to say that won't go up over the next few months? I would not be shocked if that...
Bro, if Nintendo raises their prices on their Nintendo Switch stuff again, dude, I'm gonna laugh my ass off. Same thing for the PlayStation 2 as well.
That happened, frankly. The tariffs are no doubt impacting margins for Nintendo, but they likely maintained Switch 2 prices to ensure that launch momentum was there. But Nintendo's the kind of company that wants to make a profit with each console sold, and so I would not be shocked if ultimately Nintendo down the line in the not so distant future did decide to raise prices. And then with PlayStation, they've already raised prices, but you know, is there a possibility that they'll raise those prices again like Xbox did?
Probably.
There's a non-zero chance. All of it is up in the air right now, but anything is possible with MSRP in the current economic condition. We will not be seeing console prices depreciating.
It's okay because I have a library of PC games and I have a library on my PS4 that I can totally play games for like forever. I can play a game, these games, plus they're like, a lot of them are JRPGs, so I'll be busy for quite some time.
Anytime soon with everything going on with the world economy right now. And of course, this also raises questions about what the price point for the Xbox ROG Ally will be, given that we haven't seen price point announcements officially, but former IGN editor Destin put out a YouTube video where he said that based on sources that he's spoken to, prices for the ROG Xbox Ally and...
Yeah, they are. If you don't spend money in it, it is free at the end of the day.
The Xbox Ally X, basically the less powerful and the more powerful model, will respectively be $550 and $900. How the Xbox Ally's price point will be affected remains to be seen, but something worth noting is what Daniel Ahmad highlights here, where he talks about certain exemptions when it comes to tariffs. Certain kinds of electronics are exempt from tariffs. So, for example, certain smartphone and computer parts are exempted from reciprocal tariffs. The thing about video games specifically is that the US government, for whatever reason, does not consider a video game console to be a a computer, video game consoles are considered a separate category and subject to full tariffs, even though game consoles are the definition of computers. Sure, there are computers that have been tailor-made for a very specific purpose, but they are computers. But with the Xbox ROG Ally actually being a Windows computer that doesn't just do gaming, but where you can also perform other tasks as well, maybe the Xbox ROG Ally can be technically considered to be a computer by the government, which has this really misguided definition of what a computer actually is. And maybe as a result, the ROG Ally or the Xbox ROG Ally specifically will be exempt, whereas the Xbox consoles, because they can only be used for gaming and don't have other computing capabilities, maybe those are not exempt from the tariffs. Because
well, with gaming consoles, right? With like just gaming consoles in general, like, I don't think you can upload a video or do your work on an actual, like, home computer or a laptop, you know? You can't access to, like, your video editing software and all this other stuff for, you know, compared to a console doesn't do that, you know? Can you, like, technically, manipulate it and change it into it for it to do that? Yeah, you can, but the average person isn't going to do that, though.
As that makes them not computers, according to the government's definition. We'll see what happens when official prices for the Xbox ROG Ally get announced, but right now, this is the current speculative price point. But yeah, as far as what kind of position this puts Xbox in, not a very good one. PlayStation and Nintendo are absolutely dominating the console market. Xbox has fallen woefully behind, and they're pushing more for essentially kind of being like a third-party entity at this point. They're trying to release their games in as many platforms as possible, including competitors like Nintendo and PlayStation. They're trying to make everything an Xbox, and all that does is devalue the actual Xbox Series consoles, because why would you want to get that console when you can get a PC that does the same and more? When you can play these games on all of these other devices, what's the point of just owning the actual Xbox console, since games are no longer exclusive to it? The third-partification of Xbox has already devalued the console, but now the price point going up by such a significant margin means that, I mean, yeah, there's really no good reason to buy an Xbox console at this.
Or you can just buy it used. I'm just saying. You know, there's always a third marketplace. That's where I buy a lot of my stuff in general. So
point. The price now is simply far too high for what few unique features the Xbox Series consoles offer at this stage. And when exclusive games that you can only play on the Xbox Series are no longer a thing that Xbox is pushing for, why would you want to pay, you know, $650 to $800 for an Xbox Series? It just, yeah.
Let me see. Let me pop up my marketplace. I'm not gonna show here, of course, but 'cause it'll dox me. But let me see. For an Xbox, how much is it in the third marketplace? Let me see. Let's go for Xbox. What is it? Series? Is it Series S or Series X? Which one is it again? I have no freaking idea because there's so many versions of this goddamn hardware, to be honest. Okay, definitely not that one. Pretty much half of the price of it, actually. Yeah. Yeah, I can buy one for half of that price. Oh, I see. Okay, so the X one, it's literally half the price. A little bit less than half the price. The S series is about even half of that price. So the Xbox Series X is about a little bit below half of what they're selling brand new. And then the S series is half of the X series of it being used. So So that's pretty much that's the pricing, at least for me over here. That's kind of crazy in my personal opinion. Like I said, man, it's time to scavenge. It's time to turn on your scavenger mode on to, you know, to survive if you want to keep playing video games, you know. But yeah, it's pretty easy though.
These price points, the Xbox Series just makes no sense as a product. And then with the Xbox Series S, at least that was like an affordable option to quickly engage with Xbox titles, but it is no longer affordable, so the Xbox Series S has also become kind of moot. The Series S now is pretty much pointless. It just doesn't offer enough power, enough capabilities for it to be able to be priced at the current price points with the price increases. And so this spells a lot of trouble, I think, for the Xbox platform and ecosystem.
Literally, I can buy me an Xbox S and X together, combined, and they literally wouldn't even be the amount that their Xbox is selling. It'd still be even cheaper to buy both of them in my marketplace than buy them both brand new.
Especially where hardware is concerned. On the software front, you know, they're going to launch their games on all of the platforms, and, you know, that means that those games may very well do well and commercially be successful. But as a hardware manufacturer for video games, Xbox just, it feels like they're pretty cooked at this stage. At least Nintendo and PlayStation have the benefit of being kind of dominating companies in the gaming landscape. Nintendo still has those exclusives that are irresistible, and so there's still that draw for the Switch 2, even if the price does go up. With PlayStation, it's a similar thing where, you know, they dedicate a lot to the PlayStation 5 platform. They do have exclusives that are coming up, and so there is some kind of value there, even if the prices go up, even though the prices going up will negatively impact sales because games are just becoming less affordable during an economic time when people feel, you know, kind of financially more strapped than they've been in a while. At least those are luxury items that still have some desirable elements, but with Xbox hardware being priced as high as they are and offering so little, these are luxury items that just aren't desirable in the current state of things. And so I am not particularly enthused by what the future holds for Xbox hardware with the current situation right now. These price increases, I mean, it was already bad enough with the last price increase, but this one, this second price increase, I mean, I
can't wait. Can't wait for Nintendo and Sony. Let's see what they're gonna do.
Makes the situation that much worse. But I suppose only time will tell how all this plays out and how these tariffs impact both PlayStation and Nintendo. And I don't know if that will somehow even the playing field a little bit if they have to increase their prices as well. But currently, right now, Xbox is looking pretty worse for wear. And if you were planning to get an Xbox at some point soon, now's the time to do it if you want to get it at the first increased MSRP rather.
Or don't listen to Young, okay? Don't listen to him. Just buy it used. Surprise Pikachu face. Just buy a used Xbox if you want an Xbox console. That's all I gotta say. I'm just saying. You probably might find a good freaking deal at like what, at a local swap meet or some kind of like pawn shop or something. Used sounds lewd. What are you talking about? Stop thinking that way, Pillow. Stop thinking that way. Buy used blasphemy. Yeah. Don't listen to Young. Yeah. If you wanna get yourself an Xbox console, just buy a used one at this point. You know, it'll probably save you a lot more money by a lot of money. Like even like, cause I want to pick up a Nintendo Switch OLED, but I'm not gonna buy it new. I'm gonna buy it used. So I'll just buy it used and have it for myself to play some, because I have some Switch games that I bought so many years ago, and I can just play it, you know, I can just play it there, you know, but yeah. Anyways, that's crazy to be hearing that the Xbox has rose their prices. Honestly, can't wait to see what Nintendo's gonna do next. That's what I'm excited for, is Nintendo's increased prices. But yeah. Anyways, that's the end of the video. And yeah, just buy stuff used now these days. I think the used market is probably a more better marketplace to get some stuff instead of buying it brand new now. So shit, is the Xbox Portable also increasing prices before releases too? Nobody knows. Like a single mother of four is saying she's ready to settle down. I'm like if I had kids or so, right? You know, if I had a child or so, and you know my child wants a Nintendo Switch, right? I'm just gonna buy a used one at the end of the day. So, but yeah. Anyways, that's the end of the video. And sad. Rest in pepperonis. I salute the Xbox box fanboy or whatever. I don't fucking know. I'm just saluting them because that might probably sink the console. Not really though, but I'm just saying, just hypothetically, just for funsies, it might sink it. I salute them at the end of the day. That's the end. So that's the end of Xbox. Nah, they can get fucked. Damn, dude. Damn. You're just gonna call them out like that? But yeah. Anyways, that's the end of the video. And that's it.